Fit in 10 Nation, it is day 27 of the Fit in 10 Challenge, and I will put up the date today for Costco. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this on the 19th of May, but it's a long weekend, so we're going to go for the 26th of May, okay? So it'll be Sunday morning, the 26th. We're going to aim to meet there at 9 a.m. and make this happen. I'm willing to do more than one shop, by the way. And I'm also willing to do a shop at some other location if you like perhaps a grocery store. Not all of you have Costco memberships, and that's okay. You can still come if you don't have a Costco membership, as I mentioned yesterday. All right, let's talk about protein here. People are still having problems with protein, and so I want to let you guys know, a lot of you don't have issues with your carbs and your fats. Okay, surprise, surprise. A lot of you have protein, you have issues with getting enough protein. So, in this case, we want to make sure that the proteins that we get are very, very lean sources, okay, and are low in carbohydrates. So things like egg whites and chicken breast and white fish are all going to be lower caloric proteins, okay, or proteins that are mainly just pure protein. And obviously the reason I'm telling you this is because you want to make sure that you're getting sufficient amount of protein and you're not going over in your carbs and your fats. All right, and also you want to have some enjoyment in your diet and have maybe some nuts for fat or some avocado or oils and whatnot. And if you're having abundance of fat from your protein sources, so for example, if you're having a lot of whole eggs or you're eating a very fatty cut of red meat, this is going to take away from your fat, right? So just keep that in mind. Somebody had written me that they bought ground chicken thigh, I think it was, or turkey thigh, and just keep in mind this is going to be higher in fat. So you want to consider, maybe if you're going to get ground turkey, just get ground turkey breast, okay, or chicken breast, okay. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention too is, protein cannot be stored in the body. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. It cannot be stored in the body. So it is one argument to have protein in, regular, reasonable allotments all throughout the day. So we're not getting, fluctuations in amino acids in the bloodstream. Your body can obviously store fat. Your body can store carbohydrates. So if you're having them in large influxes, well, generally I would like you to spread it across, but those things have the capacity of being stored, okay? Amino acids don't. So, just consider that with protein. That is, you don't have to do this, but try to get protein in even increments throughout the day, okay? Don't just leave it to the nighttime, as somebody wrote me that they typically do, okay? Plus, it's going to make your dinner really, really hard to eat, and it's going to feel like you have a brick in your stomach, because protein, as we are all learning, is very, very filling, and it's very, very, very satiating, okay? You might as well do that in the day to curb your hunger signals, all right? So, what are some convenient sources of protein to have other than meat? Because, well, meat's not obviously convenient. And, sometimes, you're walking around basically, or you don't have a cooler with you or whatnot, although you could. So, shakes are obviously a great way to go, and, we've talked a little bit about this, about, shakes being processed, that is, protein powder is processed. Isn't it bad? We talked about why that is not necessarily the case, that it's bad. Of course, I do recommend real food, but these are two proteins that you probably know by now I am a big fan of. I like these two. This is the only flavor of Vega that I like, by the way, chocolate. Okay, now these are totally different in terms of, they're both protein sources, but there's one big thing I want you to look at when you look at a label on something like this, or when you're trying to evaluate a protein powder, and that is its purity. So for example, here in 35 gram serving, there's a 35 gram serving here, you get how much protein. This is a protein source, so we want to know how much protein we're getting. What is the purity on this? So we are getting, where is my protein? Right at the bottom here, we are getting 30 grams out of 35 grams. So this is about 86% pure. That is a very good purity, okay? So as a protein source, very, very good. When we look at something like this, and we see we have a 46 gram serving, And we look down here, we get 20 grams of protein. We are getting less than 50% protein. Not that great as a protein source. That's not to say this doesn't have protein, and it's not to say that you shouldn't have it as a protein source, but it's really just not a great source of protein. It's not very protein dense, okay? So when you're paying for this, you're paying for, whatever this is, 2 pounds of powder. But you want to think, if I'm buying it for protein, how much protein am I actually getting in this, okay? Now, I like this one because it's got all kinds of nutraceutical ingredients, like, maca root and broccoli and marine algae and spirulina, and it's got apple and cranberry and orange, cherry, blueberry, strawberry, etc., okay? Chlorella, goji berry, just all kinds of good nutraceuticals that, have, good effects on the body and nutritive effects on the body. So that's why I like this one, okay? But typically if I make a shake with this, I'm adding in yogurt, and I'm using at least a scoop and a half of this, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at proteins powders, all right? The other thing you want to look at is the ingredient list. The ingredient list should not be very long, because there should not be much more in it than, if it's a whey isolate, then it shouldn't have much more than whey isolate in it. There has to be some flavoring, of course, to make it good, unless you buy non-flavored. All right, I'm already at 6.5 minutes, man. Okay, what else can I say here? This one's got a long ingredient list just because there's so many different nutraceuticals added to it, okay? Lots of plants and vegetables and fruits in here, okay? So it's kind of an exception. All right, I hope that's helpful. These make your life much easier, and so do the bars that I mentioned yesterday, or one bar that I mentioned yesterday, which were those Kirkland bars. Kirkland bars. By the way, those Kirkland bars are like half the price of Quest bars, so they're really, really, really economical. I think like $2 a bar, which is pretty cheap. Okay, great for on the go. Obviously, the bar that I do recommend is the FitStar bars that I sell. Those are the best bars on the market, bar none. I don't know of any other bar that's as good as that. Okay, and I'll do a video on them shortly. All right, message of the day. Here's my message of the day. Message of the day is the difference between who you are and who you want to become lies in what you do. Okay, so the difference between who you are and who you'd like to become lies in what you do. Now, that again may seem obvious, but I think it's good that we hear it. And that's not to say that who you are is not good enough, but I think we can all agree that, there are probably, I'm sure, many things, or at least a few things in your life that you want to improve upon. I know certainly there are in my life, with me personally speaking. So, my point is you need to take action, right? Action, thinking about it is great, chatting about it, dreaming about it, all that. Planning for it's important too, but, ultimately we have to take action on these things, right? So take action in this challenge. Make things happen. The only way it'll happen is by actually doing it, right? You've got to do it, not think about it, not be like, oh yeah, I should do that. No, make it happen. Put it in your calendar, and then put the will out there and meet it. Meet your will, okay? Make it happen, all right? Okay, I will talk to you guys all soon. Submit, commit. And I'll put up the the Costco shop on in Slack, okay? All right, we'll talk to you guys all soon. See you guys.